Dear learners, welcome you all to the learning platform and the live class with me, Faisal Ahmed, faculty member, Department of English. A very nice morning to all of you. Thank you very much for joining the live class with me. So this is week 10. In this week, we are going to discuss about Saint Joan, written by George Bernard Shaw. This is a play, okay, like other plays that you studied before this one. Okay, so today we are going to have a background of this drama Saint John, okay, along with summary. So can you see the changes of the slides that I'm doing here? Okay, so this drama or play is based on a real story. That means there was a real Saint Joan, okay, who is called or known as Joan of Arc. Okay, so based on whose story the play was written by George Bernard Shaw. Okay, so let's know about the real Saint Joan of Arc, and who is also called the Maid of Orleans. Orleans is a city in France. Okay, his real name was Jean Ladiard, born in 1412 and died in 1431. Okay, rather he was executed. So she is a national heroine of France. She is also a Catholic saint. She was a peasant girl born in the east of France. Joan of Arc was burned after the trial, okay, by the English church. As though he was a female, he participated in war and or males attire. Males, I mean battle attire or war attire. So that was his guilty, or that was his crime considered by the English church. So during that era, female were prohibited to go outside of their home. But this lady was so brave that she participated in war, even lead the French army in Orleans. So that was his fault. Okay, though it is actually not fault by considering the real present time. Okay, but during that time, I mean, around 600 to 700 years ago. Okay, so that's a religious and social problem, or which we call superstition. Okay, the real Joan of Arc, based on whom the play Saint John was written. Joan said that she had visions from God. In these visions, she said, that means dream. Vision means dream. Okay, only dream, just like angels came to her and said some heavenly words to her on behalf of God. In these visions, she said that God told her to take back her home, which was then under English rule, late in the 100 Years' War. So during that era, there was a war for a long time, which is called 100 Years' War between France and England. Okay. So this is a fraction of that 100 Years' War. Okay. In which she, I mean, the Joan of Arc participated as a leader of the French army. So many quick military victories made her famous. In 1430, soldiers of Burgundy captured her and gave her to her English enemies. Joan of Arc has remained an important figure in Western civilization. Famous writers like Shakespeare, Tchaikovsky, Mark Twain, and Voltaire wrote about her, like George Bernard Shaw. She appears in video games, television, movies, songs, and dances. The Hundred Years' War. Okay, so now let's know about the historical fact of the Hundred Years' War. The Hundred Years' War spanned from 1337 to 1453. Was a series of conflicts during the late Middle Ages between the kingdoms of England and France. It centered primarily on competing claims to the French crown by the English house of Plantagenet and the French house of Valois. Over time, the war encompassed a broader power struggle involving factions from across Western Europe, which was fueled by nascent nationalist sentiment on both sides. This is a portrait or illustration of the Hundred Years' War between France and England. This is the flag of England and this is the flag of France. The play Saint Joan by George Bernard Shaw. Synopsis or summary. So before this, we just have had historical background and the real Saint Joan of Arc. So now we are going to the synopsis of the play or drama Saint John, written by George Bernard Shaw. The play is set between 1429 and 1431 with an epilogue set in 1456. During this time, the Hundred Years' War was raging between England and France, and English forces had occupied a number of French cities and towns. The play begins with Joan asking a French nobleman, Robert de Baudricourt, to provide her with armor, a horse, and soldiers. Joan is an adolescent girl. That means she was only 18 to 19 years old. Okay, adolescent girl from a small country village, teenager. Okay, and also a peasant girl. That means daughter of the farmer. Hold on for a second. Hello. Walaikum Assalam. আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে আমি এখানে ক্লাসে আছি তো আমি ক্লাস শেষ করে যাব Okay, the play begins with Joan asking a French nobleman Robert de Baudricourt to provide her with armor, a horse, and soldiers. Joan is an adolescent girl from a small country village, a farmer girl. But she has had visions of saints telling her that it is her destiny to lead French forces or army to victory against England and ensure that the Dauphin, heir to the throne, is officially crowned as king. Robert is hesitant to support Joan, but he gives in when he sees that she is capable of inspiring men to fight for her. Joan travels to Chinon, where the Dauphin has set up an informal court. Despite an attempt to trick her, she easily identifies the Dauphin, which further encourages others to see her as guided by God. Joan persuades the Dauphin that she is going to free the city of Orleans, held under siege by English forces, and have him crowned at Reims Cathedral. Leading troops, Joan goes to Orleans where the French forces are frustrated. They need the winds to change so that they can sail upriver and attack the English from behind. Joan prays and the wind immediately changes, allowing the French forces to win a triumphant victory. So Joan is a female, though she was a female, but she led the French army like a male warrior. Okay, and even she dressed as a male. Okay, I mean male's armor. So, and even she has godly power, heavenly power. That's why she prayed and her prayer was granted immediately. Okay, and she got victory against the English army, but not in the whole France, just in two particular cities of France. Okay. Later, she was captured and executed by English army and English church after the trial. The French victory at Orleans changes the tide of the war, which worries English leaders. Okay. Earlier in the war, the English had formed an alliance with the Burgundians, a French faction who opposed the royal house to which Charles belonged. While weak, an English nobleman meets with Cauchon, a Burgundian bishop. Both men agree that Joan is dangerous and must be eliminated. So that was their conspiracy against Saint Joan, and so the seat so on here, and later on she was tried and executed. Meanwhile, Charles has been crowned at Reims Cathedral. Joan is worried because she seems to be becoming unpopular, and several people accuse her of being proud, stubborn, and reckless. With Charles crowned, Joan wants to lead forces to try to take back Paris, but no one supports this plan. Nonetheless, Joan insists that she has to follow God's orders. Okay, so Joan is very stubborn, very proud, but she deserves it. Okay, so yeah, primarily she was acclaimed and she was supported by the other French armies, but later on she was not supported. Okay, so that's why English army got the chance to capture her. The action of the play then jumps ahead 2 years to 1431. The interim Joan has been captured by Burgundian forces and sold to the English. She is now on trial on charges of her heresy, with a number of charge officials questioning her. Undaunted, Joan defends her decision to wear men's clothes, and she insists that her voices are truly the voices of divine messengers. So she was confident, okay, at her act that she wore man's attire or man's armor, okay, and she was guided by God, by the messengers, heavenly messengers. So she only wavers when she is threatened with execution, at which time Joan signs a confession and a recantation. However, she is horrified to realize that even though her life will be spared, she is still going to be imprisoned for life. Faced with this fate, Joan tears up her confession. She is immediately taken out to be executed. Other characters report that she showed great strength and courage during her painful execution. Okay, she was burnt alive in her execution. The epilogue to the play is set 25 years later. Here we are talking about epilogue, okay? The foreword about the play, written by the writer himself. An inquiry has been held into Joan's trial. And the charges have been reversed, okay? So the Joan's execution was misjudged. Joan is now declared innocent. Her spirit appears in a vision to Charles. So her execution was not an execution but a murder, okay, by the English church. Her spirit appears in a vision to Charles, who is now successfully ruling as a strong French king. The pair are joined by many other characters, showing that Joan has now been vindicated and that her enemies have been proven wrong. And she was right. Eventually, a man dressed in 1920s style clothing appears and announces that Joan has been declared a saint. Okay, saint means holy person. Excited by all of the seeming praise and recognition, Joan suggests that maybe she should return to life. However, all of her seeming allies immediately abandon her, making excuses for why this is not a good idea. At the end of the play, Joan is left alone, wondering when the world will be ready to fully embrace her. So this is just like her. In the epilogue, we will find her soul. Okay, where she is searching for her or waiting for her recognition as a saint, and to establish that she was right and the church was wrong, or the judges was wrong. Judges are wrong. So introduction to the characters in the place by the play Saint John by George Bernard Shaw. So the first major character or the protagonist of the play is Joan of Arc or Saint John. Joan is a protagonist of the play. She is born the daughter of a humble farmer, but inspired by divine visions, she becomes an important military leader who plays a decisive role in the 100 Years' War between France and England. Next character, the Dauphin, the would-be King Charles VII of France. Charles is the expected heir to the French throne, hence the title Dauphin. Dauphin is just not a name, it's a title of French king. But at the start of the play, he has not been officially crowned and has been declared illegitimate. With Joan's help, Charles is crowned as Charles VII and goes on to become a good leader. Next characters, the Inquisitor or the brother John Lemaitre, a French monk who plays a key role in Joan's trial. Peter Cauchon, Bishop of Beauvais. Cauchon is a Frenchman but is part of the Burgundian faction, which means he is allied to the English. So in the France, Burgundians are fighting for English forces. I mean, they supported English rather than France. So they are just like betrayers of French people, including Bishop and other people, important people who are in the leadership. He works with Warwick to ensure that Joan will be turned over to the English if she is captured. Richard de Beauchamp, Earl of Warwick, an English nobleman and Joan's primary opponent on the English side of the war, though not nearly as concerned about Joan's heresy against the church as he returns. He sees the value of paying lip service to this offense as a means of protecting his real interest, the continuation of the aristocratic entitlement that benefits him. John de Stogumber, the chaplain, an English priest who acts as chaplain to the Cardinal of Winchester and the Earl of Warwick. Initially, he has a passionate hatred of Joan, but after he witnesses her execution, he has a change of heart. De Stogumber goes on to dedicate his life to serving the poor and advocating for religious tolerance. Robert de Baudricourt, a French nobleman who gives Joan soldiers, horse, and arms so that she can travel to the Dauphin and also lead the French army. Robert Stewart, a household servant who encourages Robert to meet with Joan. Bertrand de Poulengy, a French nobleman and soldier who is friends with Robert de Baudricourt. He believes in Joan and offers to go with her to the Dauphin and the would-be King of France, who was supported by Saint John or Joan of Arc. Georges Duc de la Timoila, Constable of France, a French nobleman who is close to the Dauphin or the King of France. Regnault de Chartres, the Archbishop of Reims, a French churchman who crowns Charles as king and later rebukes Joan for being proud and stubborn. Gilles de Rais, Blue Bear, a French nobleman and military leader. Captain La Hire, a French soldier who strongly believes in Joan. Duchess de la Timoila, a French noble woman and the wife of Timoila. Joan, Comte de Genois, Bastard of Orleans, a French military leader who is in charge of the attack of Orleans. John de Estevade, Canon of Bayeux, a French church of official who plays a key role in Joan's trial. Thomas de Courcelles, the Canon of Paris, a French church official involved in Joan's trial. Brother Martin Ladvenu, a monk present at Joan's trial. He will go on to become a strong advocate to have her reputation restored. The executioner, the man who carries out Joan's execution or burned her and later appears in the epilogue. English soldiers, a common English soldier of lower class origins. He gives Joan a cross made out of sticks during her execution and later appears in the epilogue. So here are some glossaries appeared in the play Saint John. Affliction, that means suffering. Apparitions, that means visions or spirits, holy spirits, or it also means ghost. Okay. Abstemious means tending to eat or drink only in small amounts. Assessors, judges. Bourgeoisie, families and individuals who are not landowners but who make money through professional occupations such as banking, law, or medicine. They could range from middle class to quite high class and tended to be well educated. Cassock, a garment worn by a priest. Celestial means heavenly or godly. Chivalry means good manners, especially courtly treatment of women. আমি লাইভ ক্লাসে আছি, শেষ করে আমি যাব। এই তো আর বেশি সময় লাগবে না। আচ্ছা, চেষ্টা করছি। Okay. Contemplation, deliberation or thoughtful reflection. Consternation, worry or distress. Contemptuously, that means disapprovingly. Coronation means the ceremony of crowning a queen or a new king. Eccentric means unusual or unexpected. Ecclesiastical means religious, related to the ceremonies and practices of an official church. Endued means tolerated. Excommunication means the act of someone being cast out from an official religion. I mean, which happened to the Joan of Arc, and who is found to be guilty of excommunication. That is the act of someone being cast out from an official religion. I mean, acting beyond religious norms and values. They will no longer be seen as a member of the community and will be forbidden from participating in religious rituals. fatalistically. Fatalistically means accepting of all events as part of fate and destiny. And believing in destiny. Imperil, put in danger. Implacably, cold-heartedly. Impudence, rudeness or disrespect. Incorrigible, stubborn or unwilling to change. So, incredulous, unbelieving or skeptical. Magisterial, showing or having great authority. Mendacious, false. Penance, self-punishment or atonement. Personages, someone who is very important or has elevated position. Tyrant, mean tower. Usurping means seizing power from a rival. Welter, confusion. Worthies, important people. Okay, that's the end of the lesson. Thank you very much for being with me. Have a good day and bye-bye.